fresh out the oven. What is cracking, everybody? It's Mega Pieman here, and welcome to a look at my map for CTF Coffeyville A9 and A10. I'd actually finished A10 before I was able to get a video of A9 out, so I'm going to put both of them into this particular video right here. And, ooh, that guy got hit by a train. Well, gotta keep an eye out for those trains. There is a sound that plays when it goes across to let you know it's coming. So, you know, if you get by a train, it's your own fault. But, yeah, I didn't get a chance to get a video out for A9 before I was able to make A10, so I'm just going to put them together in both videos. And this footage you're seeing right now is the demo from the tf2maps.net game day for December 18th. So, it's actually a little while ago. It was last year. It's currently 2015. This is from 2014. It's hard to believe, but this is actually from last year. But it was actually a pretty good game day, as I was able to figure out and see a lot of issues that I didn't necessarily know were there before, and have been able to work on fixing just about all of the issues that were there before. And hopefully, once I do get to Alpha 11, maybe Alpha 11 can finally be in beta. But so far, Alpha 10 is still Alpha, and right we're watching right now, Alpha 9 is still Alpha. Now, one of the big things about Alpha 9 is that I wanted to fix some issues that I accidentally created in Alpha 8. In Alpha 8, I had moved around some things to make the map a little bit smaller because it was really big. For a CTF map, it's still pretty big. I think it's longer than any of the stock CTF maps, but a lot of those maps are a little bit different in how people move around and whatnot, so I don't think there's necessarily more play space in mine than in theirs. Mine's just a lot longer than theirs with how I've designed the map. So I made it a lot shorter in Alpha 8, and that unfortunately created an issue where basically this spot that's now right here, when you walked out of the spawn and stood over here, you could then look through, because that area used to be over here, you could then look through this door, look through this window, look through this window, and look through this door, and get exactly at the exact same spot on the other side of the map. So you could basically snipe people as soon as they came out of their spawn, and that was a problem. So the best way that I came to try to fix that is I actually flipped where the spawn was, and this little flank route over here is. So instead of you spawning on the right, you now spawn in the intel room is on the left. And the flank area, instead of being on the left, is now over to the right. One of the things that I did notice with this particular game day is that nobody really seems to use this flank route. So I'm thinking of redesigning this a little bit or doing something to try and make it so that it's more accessible. Currently, the only way to get up there is either to rocket jump your way up there or to go over to these stairs, to go up this way and go over here. That way you can go around, but hopefully to make it more accessible, it will then be more useful to the people who are on the offense. Because the whole reason why you go up here is to get back here so you can see the areas where sentry guns build up, like that sentry gun's over there, this sentry gun's over there, and help you attack those with something like a soldier. Now, there was another issue that I saw that popped up, is if it popped up yet, it doesn't look like it happened yet in this particular demo, but it will happen here in a little bit, that I ended up working on. People seem to enjoy the map so far, and I don't think I'm going to do much in the way of, like, big changes. I don't think there's going to be any more big, super big changes when it comes to CTF Coffeyville. I think at this point, I've got a majority of the layout down. The only piece of the layout that I feel that I really need to fix or work on is over here. Other than that, I think I can start moving forward when it comes to other parts of the map, when it comes to optimization, and when it comes to detailing. Now, let's see if that is up yet. Here we go. This is what becomes a big problem that I actually never thought about and never saw anyone do outside of this game day test. This sentry gun sitting on top of this rock right here. Now, if you take a look at the area where the sentry gun is at, it actually covers every single route through the middle of the map. I had never even thought about putting a sentry gun up here at all to test to see that, but as you'll see, this guy will eventually upgrade to a level 2 sentry, and then it'll upgrade to a level 3 sentry, and it creates a stalemate for a while, where the other team's just not able to get past this sentry at all, because it covers just about everything. It covers people coming out from over here, it covers people coming out from over here, and if anyone is able to, like, rocket jump up this way, go down across, you can come out here, you get shot by the sentry gun, go across the bridge, get shot by the sentry gun, go under the bridge, get shot by the sentry gun, go over the bridge, get shot by the sentry gun. So, I mean, even if you're over here trying to take out the sniper rifle, there's not a good angle here to try to go after it, there's not a good angle here to try to go after it. If you go all the way back here, you might be able to find a decent angle to shoot at it with a sniper rifle, but it's kind of being blocked by this brush right there. So, it's a very, very good sentry spot that completely closes the map just about entirely. And as you can see over here, it's basically no one's over here because blue can't even make it into red's base, whereas red is easily able to push forward thanks to that fantastic sentry placement. So that is something that's going to have to be worked on so that it's not as overpowered. I kind of like it, but then again, I also feel that it'll be more overpowered, so I think I'm going to just completely cut off being able to build on top of that rock, and hopefully that will help change things. But outside of that... Oh, there's another thing that I noticed. I got some feedback about, and I actually noticed that at the beginning, like you see this engineer right here is over here looking at this window. A lot of people, as soon as they spawned, tried to jump out of these windows because they looked like they were clear, like there was just an open space. I didn't see it all too often as the map played out, but in the beginning I could definitely see it a couple of times where people would spawn. We got some AFK dudes apparently. People would spawn, they would try to jump out of these because I think it's the texture that I'm using. The texture that I'm using is, you know, it's a glass texture, but then again it's on a very big surface, so the texture is kind of spread out, so it looks like a big open area. And even though you can't see in through that window, you can see out. So I'm going to have to work on trying to fix that for Alpha 10. But another issue that I actually came across was over here, I believe, if it's still... No, it's not still there. But there was no collision on this crate right here, this open crate, and there was actually a person who was playing as Heavy earlier in the map who walked over here and got stuck to the point that he couldn't get out. I'll splice some video in so you can see it. But he got stuck over here, so he couldn't move and had to kill himself. So I'm going to have to work on trying to fix that as well, and that's all fixed up in Alpha 10. So, speaking of Alpha 10, let's do a seamless transition over to Alpha 10 so that we can check that out. Alright, and now we are in CTF Coffeeville Alpha 10, which is, of course, the 10th version of this map. Yes, 10 versions. I've been working on this map not quite a year yet. Hopefully it won't take a year for me to actually get this map finished, but it's been quite a while. It's quite a few months we've been working on this. And one of the things that I tried to do with CTF Alpha 10, or CTF Coffeeville Alpha 10, is I wanted to do a little bit of optimization. I keep getting people who are talking about how they have frame rate problems when it comes to this. Currently, I've got 60 FPS, even though, I mean, there's nobody on the map. But I personally have not had frame rate issues, but then again, I may have a better computer than the other people, and, you know, I've run this map more often than other people, considering it is my map, and I run it every time I test it, and I test it a lot. So, I've been trying to do a little bit of optimization. I only did a small amount, and what I did is I created the two different sections. Now, how optimization works when it comes to source is that just about everything's broken up into viz leaves, and there's two types of brushes. There's detail brushes, and there's world brushes. World brushes will actually block off the areas and make a viz leaf. A detail brush will not. Now, viz leaves are very important because they're what you use to tell your computer what to render when. Currently, what it is right now, since I haven't done much over here, if I fly all the way in here, if I go all the way back to this spot right now, I can still... My computer is still rendering just about everything on the map in this whole area, even though I can't see it. All this stuff that's outside here, you see that? I can't see that when I'm in here, but my computer is still rendering that's there because I haven't put any optimization in this building to tell it not to. And that actually adds up as you start detailing and propping out the map and putting things all over the place to make your map look pretty. It can then cause a lot of issues because your computer then tries to render or do everything at once, and it starts making it go slower. So what I did is I created basically a wall. As you can see, if I go back here, you can't really see back behind on the other side of the hotel. It's because up top here is actually a skybox option, and then if I go over here, it then flips that way. Seems to be a couple of weird things going on with it. I'm not quite sure why it's rendering everything in pieces like that. But it splits up the map into two different sections, and then eventually I will put one over here for the blue side as well. I didn't do that yet. We just didn't have the time before the game day for this week happens, because the game day happens tomorrow, but you have to get your map submitted basically as soon as you possibly can if you have a hope of getting in the game day to get your maps tested. So right now, I'll have to see later on if how it cuts off the stuff behind it causes an issue or sort of visual issues, but for right now, the way that it works is that this area renders stuff and then this area renders stuff, because over here it's like all that stuff that you don't see, it's not rendered. Computer's not rendering it, and therefore it's not taxing on your computer. So my biggest issue when it comes to optimization, you also do this with area portals for areas you actually want to walk through. So there's an area portal at this sub spot, there's an area portal here, there's an area portal right here on this wall, this area over here, that needs fixed. That's a problem. All right. This area here is actually all of this is all detail so that it doesn't cut up or to make more vis leaves. You always want to do that when it comes to angles, but you want to basically make big squares that you then fill in with detail brushes to make everything look pretty. And I'm not really good at optimization. My problem is not that I don't know how to do it. I know how to do it. I just don't know where to do it. I know that I need to use skyboxes. I know I need to use like function details. I need to use function LODs and other things like that. I'm not going to go into this much detail. You might not know what I'm talking about. If you work in Source, you might not, or I don't know how it works for other map creators or anything, so you might know what I'm speaking about. You might have no freaking idea, but I'm not going to go in depth to go over this stuff because that would take a long time. But yeah, I know what to use, I just don't know where to use it. And that's something that I really, really need to learn, and hopefully we'll be able to learn more about as I work on optimizing CTF Coffeeville more. And hopefully it will actually end up having a good frame rate at the end of things. But I also did a little bit of detailing. There are textures on most things. Most of the stuff is still dev textures. You see what that's a dev texture right there. That's what's dev texture. But I did start adding in wood textures to some of these areas, and I also started doing a little bit of detailing. As you see down here, I detailed up these boards to make them look a little bit more fancy, so you have this bit of a boardwalk that goes to this edge, and then these fancier boards back there. I also made sure to add a clip so you can't get caught behind these little things right here. You'll actually just walk across them like the brush stopped here all the way down. So hopefully that will make it not only look fancier, but also function fancier. I also did a bunch of detailing inside of here. I added all of these supports, added this bar area, because that's supposed to be a saloon part of the map. The map is supposed to be somewhat Western themed, but I don't know if I have the talent to make the architecture reflect that. There was a map that recently came out on tf2maps.net that it's still basically its alpha version, but the developer, the guy who's making the map, put a lot of work into the architecture and making it look all nice and pretty before getting tested, which is actually the wrong thing to do. You want to do that stuff last, and in my opinion, just that way you don't end up getting rid of stuff you spent hours working on. But the one thing this map had is that it had a Western architecture, and it was really, really good Western architecture. I don't know if I can necessarily replicate the kind of architecture I want to give this map a Western feel. Hopefully I'll be able to do that, but at the moment, I don't know if I can. Either way, it'll still be somewhat of a Western theme, considering it's got, like, these wagons and stuff all over the place, so hopefully it'll turn out the way I want it to, but we'll have to wait and see how I'm able to detail stuff later on down the line. One of the things I did actually add to this particular map is I added this health pack down here. I got some feedback on the last version of someone asking if I could put health packs in the intel room, which is actually a smart decision. I used to have health packs in the intel room in previous versions of this map, and then when I redid inside the intel room the last time, I kind of got rid of them all. So I put this full health pack down here, which is hopefully in a location that is both useful to offense and defense, but not overpowered location, I suppose. It's not too easy to get to, but it's not too hard to get to, which is the hope. I also put a medium health pack over here. This health pack will probably be used by someone who's building a sentry over in this area more than anything else, but it's there for anyone who just might be running by, quickly grab it and keep on going, or if they're going down here, jump over there, jump here, grab the health pack, and move on that way. So hopefully those areas will actually be good. Something else that I fixed is that in the previous version of the map, which is Alpha 9, you could actually go into your enemy spawn through the spawn doors. That was not on purpose. That has hopefully now been fixed. Another thing that I worked on is these windows. As you may remember from the last version of the map, these windows are big and open, and I was talking about how I got some feedback that people kept on wanting to jump through these windows. So I had a frame around them, and I made smaller window panes so that instead of stretching out the basic glass texture that you can see through, it's now smaller, so I don't think anyone will attempt to try to jump through these windows anymore, hopefully. But I still was able to use a texture outside for the Soho glass texture, which I thought had a little bit of reflection on it. Doesn't seem to. But hopefully it will look okay when I actually do some detailing out here, so you can't see in, but you can see out. I don't really have a good texture for what I necessarily want to do with this particular section to make it, you know, not look weird with the glass that you can't see going in, we only see going out, but we'll have to see how everything works out once I do more work on this particular map. I also added this bridge up top here, as I said earlier in this video. I almost said it last time. It was actually earlier in this video because I'm putting both the videos for 9 and 10 into one video. But I wanted to redo this spot over here just because I don't think it's used all that often, because I don't think it's that accessible. I'm still thinking of redoing it. Don't know how I'm going to redo it yet. But I added this bridge section over here, so you can go from this midsection through this way, up these stairs, and then go out here and go across. So hopefully that will make it more accessible, although I don't know if this would be an issue when it comes to sentries. When I put a sentry up here, I'll be able to cover a lot of space. I'm not a big fan of this bridge over top area. I don't like how it works with the other things I have in the background. I think it's kind of, it's one of those things that's like, it might work, but it could easily be redone to work much better. And I probably am going to redo over here if I can think of a better way to do what I want to do with this part of the map, and that doesn't include this bridge going all the way across, but it's an idea, and we'll wait and see if I can get some feedback on it to see how things go that way. I also changed around these buildings, made this building with this little porch thing back over here, and this building over here, so hopefully that'll make it so that people won't want to try to rocket jump on top of this roof and then get it outside of the map, although could be a bit of an issue with how low this roof is. There actually is a player clip here, so you can't get on this roof, but people might want to try to jump on there and try to anyway, so I'll have to see if that becomes a problem. But that is pretty much it. Oh, I changed this. Now, one of the comments that I kept getting a couple times and wasn't quite sure exactly how I wanted to fix it was that I used to have hay bales down here, in which when you fall through this hole, you would then fall down and land on the hay bales. The reason why the hay bales were at a raised up area was so that you wouldn't take complete fall damage. I mean, you would fall on the hay bales. It would only take fall damage for that distance, instead of taking fall damage for falling right on this platform itself, so it would be a little bit less fall damage. People kept being confused because they thought, oh, there's hay bales down there, if I fall on that, that will cushion my fall and won't hurt me or hurt me as much. Which makes sense, because, you know, it's a softer landing than just hard wooden platform. But I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to actually make that work when it comes to setting up the entities. I tried a couple different things, couldn't figure it out, so unfortunately I had to remove the hay bales and I replaced them with this platform here. Now, the platform is still the exact same height that the hay bales that were there previously are, but hopefully it'll stop some confusion, so you'll fall down and hit this wood platform and be like, okay, now I know why I took damage, because I hit a wooden platform, instead of I fall down and hit the hay bales, and why did I take damage? I landed on hay. So hopefully that'll fix things up. One of the things I'm kind of worried about is, even though I did add no builds to these rocks, so you can no longer build a sentry or anything on top of these rocks, which will completely negate the issues that Alpha 9 had, I don't know if this would be much of a good area for sentry guns. If it does turn out to be a very good area for a sentry gun, I'll have to redo it, figure out how to make it work for what I want to do. I might just have to angle it and then put a no build on there, because I can't put a no build on there with it being a flat surface, because then it doesn't make any sense. I don't like it when sentry guns are on slanted surfaces, because they don't actually slant to match the surface. They still just build up like they're flat, which is an issue that you have when someone builds any like sentry gun or teleporter or dispenser on this hill here. It'll be built flat instead of on an angle, which is why for the entirety of this map, areas like this right here has a no build on it, so that you can't build there, because I don't like having to look at sentry guns that, you know, are just kind of floating there. So if I do slant this, then I'll put a no build on it so you can't build up there if it turns out to be a problem. But we will have to wait and see if it does turn out to be a problem. It might be a problem, it might not be a problem. I don't think it will be, but I will have to wait and see how things go when it comes to tests. And that's pretty much it when it comes to Alpha 10 of Coffeeville. It's getting there. I'm getting down the layout. It's getting close to going into beta. I would really like to get to beta sometime soon so I can stop messing around with the layout every single time and just focus on optimization and detailing and actually get this map on the road a little bit more. But, you know, tests are good. Having to constantly fix the layout is good, because it's good to fix the layout and take it from something bad to something better than to release it as something bad and just in general and nobody like it. People seem to be having fun with this map so far. So I've also got some ideas. Now, between my creation of Alpha 9 and Alpha 10, there was actually the release of the Smithsmith update. For every Christmas, TF2 does the Smithsmith update. And this year's update, they released a new game type called Manpower. And one of the things they did is they changed the CTF rules in that, because that's like a CTF game type, to basically match Quake. So if you're carrying a flag and you die, then it drops the flag, and if the team whose flag that you were carrying grabs their own flag, then that flag will respawn back at their base. And another thing where your flag has to be at your base for you to be able to capture the other team's flag. Now, I'm thinking of adding both of those things into Coffeeville. I'm not going to make Coffeeville a manpower map just because it's not designed for the grapple hook stuff or the power-up stuff that they have in that game type. But I'm thinking of adding those two things to Coffeeville. I'm not sure if I want to do that since, I mean, the CTF version that exists for TF2, it's not very popular, but it still works for the most part. And I'm afraid that if I add that into the map, then that might make it so that the CTF is actually worse. But I'm thinking that in Alpha 11, I might test it out at least for one build of the map and see whether or not it's a good idea. But we'll have to wait and see what happens when we get to Alpha 11. That's it for this look at my map for CTF Coffeeville, A9 and A10. I'm Mega Pie Man, and talk to you guys later.